Looksmaxxing has taken over the internet, with popular creators like Clavicular talking about bone smashing, and now we're constantly presented with edits like this on social media. Looksmaxxing promises confidence, status, and control. Sharpen your jaw, fix your skin, upgrade your style, but somewhere along the way, the obsession starts to rot your mind. You stop seeing a person in the mirror and start seeing a list of flaws to correct. And this is when self-improvement turns into self-destruction. There are a couple of reasons why someone would get into looksmaxxing, but I think the main one is to attract girls. Honestly, I have nothing against looksmaxxing. In fact, I think it's very important to maximize your appearance, since looks matter a lot these days. Your appearance is a big part of the first impression you make when you meet someone. Obviously, if you look clean and healthy, you are instantly more trustworthy. But if you smell bad, have approximately 2 working teeth, and look like you've been smoking on that Heisenberg product for a year straight, you might raise up a few red flags. So yeah, looksmaxxing is great, but what happens when you go past the line of just basic hygiene? Bone smashing. The idea of repeatedly hitting or applying force to parts of your face, like the jaw and cheekbones, for example, in the belief that the bones will remodel and become more defined. The theory is loosely inspired by how bones can adapt to stress during growth or healing. Bone smashing means deliberately causing micro-trauma to facial bones with objects, hoping this will change your bone structure. But in reality, this does not work. And honestly, I cannot believe people are putting that on God that this works. What actually happens is swelling, bruising, and inflammation. And what some doctors say is that it actually can potentially cause permanent damage. Any type of sharper look you might be getting is usually just swelling, not actual improvement. So while it gets talked about as a hardcore looksmaxxing technique, it's actually all bullshit. You know, men used to hunt down boars with spears and shit, and that would be enough to make the woman fall in love. But how is it now that some young men are now hitting themselves in the face with a fucking hammer to get girls? So this begs the question, whatever happened to game, social skills, and charisma? A lot of these looksmaxxers insist that it's all only about looks, but history has actually shown us that the greatest seducers weren't necessarily that attractive. Casanova didn't hit himself with a hammer every day to make his facial features more defined. He didn't have a sharp enough jawline to cut onions. It's often said that men are usually more attracted to what they see and women to what they hear. So I would argue that looks actually don't matter that much. Now don't get me wrong, pretty privilege is absolutely a thing, and it definitely helps. But according to this theory, if anyone should be going above and beyond and looksmaxxing, it should be women, not men. Robert Greene, the creator of The Art of Seduction and the 48 Laws of Power, says it's all about psychology and how you carry yourself. Nothing is more important to a woman than how a man speaks and presents himself. What makes a great seducer is being outer directed. This means you're not stuck in an internal monologue, wondering, does she like me? Do I look okay? What can I do to impress her? You turn that off and become fully focused on listening to her, trying to understand what she feels is missing in her life and what she truly wants. You're essentially entering into her spirit. Do you understand how rare that is? If we look at how we are in our day-to-day lives, people rarely pay any attention to us. Everyone is so self-absorbed, and that is a huge turnoff. If you're constantly worrying about your looks, it might feel like you're working hard to impress someone, but you're most likely doing more harm than any good. If you give her the sense that you're genuinely interested in her, you wouldn't believe how powerful that is. We all want attention, to feel validated, and to feel recognized. That feeling is extremely rare these days. This is where the incels come to play. They often blame the fact that no woman wants them because of their looks, because they don't have muscles, they don't have a perfect jawline, and say it's unfair. But in reality, this mindset is often the very reason they end up alone. These losers will spend all their time in their mom's basement, whining online about how evil women are for not liking them for who they are. But is this the kind of man that a woman is supposed to want? If this describes you, then Looksmaxxing is not the solution to your problem. What's worse is that some of these people set extremely high standards for women, while simultaneously complaining that no one wants them because they believe they are unattractive. It becomes a cycle of resentment and blame. These people are exactly what the anti-seducer looks like. The kind of guy that every girl gets the biggest ick from, and sometimes this mindset goes to a very dark place. A man named Elliot Rodger, often called the incel hero. Elliot Rodger was a 22-year-old man who committed a misogyny-driven killing spree in Isla Vista on May 23, 2014, killing 6 people and injuring 14 others before taking his own life. He was motivated by extreme sexual frustration and rejection from women. This guy was basically the worst incel there could possibly be. Elliot would be a user on a site called puahate.com, which is a website where Elliot would often discuss his hatred of women and his desire for revenge. This is an example of a highly self-absorbed and resentful mindset that can spiral into something tragic. He committed one of the worst crimes, all out of frustration of how women weren't interested in him. He was not outer-directed. He always saw the fault in others, but never in himself. Of course, Elliot wasn't exactly a looksmaxer, but this story shows how naive it is to think this way. Some looksmaxers believe that looks are the only thing girls care about, and that you should do whatever you can to look as good as possible. From using weird substances to getting surgeries. I'm not telling you not to looksmax. Like I said, it's very important to take care of your appearance. Just don't go overboard with it. Don't make it your entire personality. Looksmax to a healthy standard. There are lines you shouldn't cross with this topic. Take care of yourself. Practice basic hygiene. Eat healthy food. Invest in a better barber or stylist. Work out to keep both your mind and body healthy. And remember, it's mostly about psychology when it comes to women. Don't blame others for your shortcomings. If something isn't going your way in life, stay calm and process the issue. Ask yourself how you may have contributed to the situation. Learn from it and learn the game. Master yourself, bro.